Let me ask you something. What if a single illness, just one trip to the hospital, could wipe out your family's entire life savings? I mean, for hundreds of millions of people in India, that isn't some hypothetical question. It's a terrifying, everyday reality. Today, we're going to dive into a plan to fix that, all based on a really important report from Niti Aayog.
You know, it sounds like such a simple question, right? But the answer can be absolutely devastating. For millions of people across India, getting sick is more than just a health scare. It can mean complete financial ruin. So let's really look at the numbers here.
Okay, get this. 63%. That's how much of India's healthcare spending comes directly out of the pockets of ordinary citizens. I mean, just to put that in perspective, in a lot of developed countries, that number is way down, closer to 10 or 15%. This isn't just a statistic, it is a massive, crushing burden on families.
And here's the real-world impact of that huge number. Every single year, millions of families are forced into this impossible choice between their health and their financial survival. A single hospital stay can literally erase a lifetime of savings and push a family right below the poverty line.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the problem, the high cost of health. Then we'll see who actually has insurance and who doesn't. That'll lead us to this idea of the missing middle. After that, we'll explore a potential solution, and finally, we'll talk about the roadmap to actually making it happen.
Okay, first up, the high costs of health. The Niti Aayog report really hammers this point home. This isn't just a personal problem for a few families, it's a national crisis, and it needs a big, comprehensive solution.
And you know, the report itself points directly to the answer. It's all about this idea of risk pooling. Basically, health insurance takes that unpredictable, potentially massive cost that could hit one person and spreads it out across a really big group. That way, you've got a financial safety net against these sudden health shocks.
So, if insurance is the answer, you've got to ask who in India actually has it. Well, it turns out the population is kind of split into three very distinct groups, and each one has a totally different level of protection.
This chart really tells the whole story. You've got the bottom half of the population, who are mostly covered by government schemes. Then you have the top 20%, who've got private or employer-based insurance. But then, look at that. There's this massive 30% gap right in the middle with no coverage at all.
And this huge uncovered group, that's what the Niti Aayog report calls the missing middle. We're not talking about a small number of people here. This is 40 crore people. 400 million. So, who are they?
And this is the absolute core of the problem. This group is stuck. They earn just a little too much to qualify for government help, but not nearly enough to afford the private insurance that's out there. They're basically in a policy black hole, totally vulnerable to any medical bill that comes their way. Now, if we zoom into rural India, the picture gets even clearer. The missing middle here is mostly made up of self-employed farmers and folks doing non-agricultural work. These are people with unstable incomes, no formal employer, and no safety net to speak of.
And in the cities, you might be surprised. The missing middle is incredibly diverse. It's not just gig workers or small shop owners. It also includes professionals, managers, even people with formal jobs who just don't have access to good health insurance. It really shows you just how widespread this problem is.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We know who it's affecting. Now for the good part. Let's talk about the solution. The Niti Aayog report actually proposes a whole new kind of insurance plan, one that's tailor-made for this missing middle.
This slide does a great job of showing the key differences. Of course, it's designed to be affordable, but it also includes these crucial benefits that most basic plans leave out, like coverage for doctor's visits, outpatient care, and shorter waiting periods for pre-existing conditions. These things are absolutely essential to make the plan actually useful for people.
And here's the target. The report suggests that an annual premium somewhere in the range of 4,000 to 6,000 rupees per family, that would be affordable for a huge part of this missing middle. It would finally make financial protection a real, achievable goal.
Look, having a great plan on paper is one thing, but rolling it out to 400 million people, that is a whole other ballgame. The path to getting everyone covered is going to be long and it's going to be challenging.
And the report is really honest about the hurdles. They point out 4 key challenges. First, how do you even make people aware of the benefits of insurance? Second, how do you find and reach this huge, diverse group of people? Third, how do you stop a situation where only the sickest people sign up, which would drive up cost for everyone? And finally, how do you keep the price low enough to actually be affordable? So to tackle all that,
A phased rollout is what's recommended. You start in the short term by encouraging private insurers to offer these new, affordable plans. Then, in the medium term, you use the massive government infrastructure that's already there for schemes like PMJA. And then long-term, the government could think about expanding its own subsidized schemes to cover the most vulnerable people in this group.
So, at the end of the day, the NITI Aayog report gives us a really clear roadmap for tackling one of India's biggest challenges. It's not going to be easy for sure, but the potential payoff is immense. A healthier, more financially secure future for hundreds of millions of people. The big question is, will India seize this opportunity to build a healthcare system that truly works for all of its citizens?